Welcome to the Deep Dive by Outlier, where we uncover the market's hidden trends and give you the edge you need. Head on over to ovtlyr.com right now to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. Now let's jump right in.
All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are doing a deep dive into European markets. Things are pretty lively over there right now. CNBC has given us a lot to work with here. French political drama, a crazy housing market in the UK, even a company that is cutting jobs but delivering more planes than ever. Ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. It is interesting to see how all these stories are kind of related. They're all threads in the bigger European market.
Right, yeah. It is like watching dominoes fall. Speaking of dominoes falling, let's start with French politics. Prime Minister Michel Barnier's government was just ousted in a no-confidence vote. That's not very common in French politics. Right?
No, not really. It shows that there's a lot of unrest.
Yeah.
It's interesting that lawmakers from both the left and the right voted against Barnier. It seems like that controversial budget was the last straw.
Yeah, pushing it through without Parliament's approval. What about Macron's reaction? He didn't exactly try to calm things down.
No, he kind of doubled down,
Right.
blamed the politicians, and said he's staying until 2027. So what does this all mean for France's economic stability?
Yeah, that's a good question. Especially because things seem so different in the UK. Their housing market is booming, record high prices. They're in a different economic universe.
Yeah, it really is. UK house prices hit a new record in November, up 4.8% from last year. The average price is now like $298,083. That's about $380,546.
Wow, those are some big numbers. And this isn't just a fluke, right?
Right, this is 5 months in a row of price increases. Halifax thinks this trend will continue. They say strong employment and possible interest rate cuts will keep demand high.
So is this a sign of a strong UK economy? Or are we going to see a bubble burst?
Well, it's a tough question. A strong housing market can mean a healthy economy. But when prices increase so much faster than wages, there are concerns about affordability and a possible correction.
Right, yeah. You got to be careful. Okay, so let's move on to a company that is making some interesting choices. Airbus. They are cutting 2,000 jobs in their defense and space divisions. But at the same time, they're making more planes than ever. 84 planes delivered in November alone. It's hard to understand those two things together.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive at first,
Yeah.
but it might actually be a smart move. They've delivered 643 planes this year so far and got 30 new orders just last month. Last year at this time, it was 64 deliveries and 113 orders. So it seems like they're shifting focus.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But didn't they lower their profit guidance for the year? That doesn't sound so good.
True. They did lower their profit expectations. They blame supply chain problems. Maybe they're cutting jobs to streamline things. Focus on what's making them the most money, like commercial aircraft.
Makes sense.
And the market seems to be responding well. Airbus shares are up today. Investors seem to like this leaner, more focused approach.
So maybe they're thinking long-term, sacrificing some short-term gains to become even bigger in the future.
Could be.
How do you decide where to put your money?
Well, it depends on your individual circumstances, your age, your financial goals, your risk tolerance.
Right.
But there are some general principles that can help guide you. For example, it's generally a good idea to diversify your investment.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. You also want to think about your time horizon.
How long are you willing to wait for your investments to grow?
Right. If you're young and you have a long time horizon, you can afford to take on more risk. But if you're closer to retirement, you'll probably want to choose more conservative investments.
So what are some examples of conservative investments?
Well, bonds are generally considered to be less risky than stocks, but they also tend to offer lower returns.
What about real estate?
Real estate can be a good investment,
Hmm.
but it's also illiquid, which means it can be difficult to sell quickly if you need cash.
Right. So there's no one-size-fits-all answer?
No, definitely not. The best way to make investment decisions is to do your research, talk to a financial advisor, and make a plan that's right for you.
That's great advice. I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
We've covered a lot of ground. From French politics to the UK housing market, from Airbus's strategy to the Aviva Direct Line merger.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the European market.
And I think it's important to step back and see the bigger picture to understand how all these events are connected.
And to remember that the market is constantly evolving.
So stay informed, stay curious, and keep learning.
Absolutely.
That's all for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks so much for deep diving with us today. Head on over to outlier.com. That's ovtlyr.com to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. And we'll see you next time.